My name is Eddie, the original one. I am a beatbox poet. I've been a poet and promoter of spoken word since 1998, and I continue to do so. This led me to actually being invited to a meeting in Ottawa after I actually had moved to Toronto. I was putting on shows in Ottawa for a number of years, and then I happened to move to Toronto to go to school, and then got invited back to Ottawa for this meeting where they were bringing down people who were poets slash promoters of spoken word events across Canada. And in that, through that event, it led to a project called the NGN Exchange, where poets were leaving from one city and then getting to go to another city. I at that time basically was kind of touring around Canada, but everything was really more between like Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, and anything, but I'd never been out west. And through this project, I actually got to go out to Vancouver, myself and Dwayne Morgan. We left from Toronto, went to Vancouver, got to perform in a number of events out there, and I had a great time. It was, and actually around the time I actually released my first album actually in Vancouver. It was very interesting also just watching the culture of Vancouver. We went to a place called Lion's Den, where it actually had a real stuffed lion, but that's a whole other story, right? But it was a beautiful thing getting to meet the poets there. In fact, we got to meet a young poet who has now come up and is major in the Vancouver scene, Scruffmouth. He was just starting out at the time, and we were like the first poets outside of Toronto who was doing big things kind of outside of that. So there was a number of other people that went to the exchange, but that was very big for me, where I actually got to go to the other side of the country, see what they're doing, see how the spoken word is there, see how it relates to my scene, and definitely where you see the mentoring kind of starts with people where you might have been 5 or 6 years or 10 years before, and they're just coming up into the scene now, and you could basically give them advice and stuff like that. So so that's one thing that I loved about the exchange, and just getting to deal with different audiences.